Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 10th of August, 2020. And I have to tell you that, seeing some of the news this morning, I'm a little shocked. We'll go with the GP today. Of course, they're pushing it down to the bottom of the search results, which is pretty unfortunate, I gotta tell you. So this morning, this is from 2:05 p.m. I don't know where this is. There's no license plate on the front of the vehicle in the picture, so it's either a new vehicle or it's a non-front stator plate, or front plate stator. It says here, Black Lives Matter pulls gun on truck driver, then mob hurls bottles at vehicle who want to get through their roadblock. Yeah, that's called denial of freedom of movement, which is a violation of your constitutional rights, ladies and gentlemen. And anybody who violates those rights, you know what the drill is. You know what the punishment is. You're going to step on the Constitution, we're going to step on you. And then, China. They stand accused of manufacturing the beer cold. Well, they did. We were told about that back in September of last year, that they were manufacturing something. There were people all over YouTube talking about it. And then all of a sudden those videos got bumped to the bottom of the list. You search through 4,000 videos to get to the one you want. It's absurd. If you don't see the censorship, then you are blind. And then a child in the U.S. is 2,000 times more likely to be a victim of child trafficking than die from the beer cold. Go figure. It's pretty amazing. 2,000 times more likely. That's pretty sick. This is what they want for your kids, ladies and gentlemen. They want that evil because they themselves are evil, and the only thing that they do well is evil. We know who's involved. That's from 7 o'clock this morning. It's an article by Jim Hoft. And then Cassandra Fairbanks, she's still pushing for Jessica, the killers of that young woman in Indianapolis, to be found. Of course, they still haven't found them. They're not going to. And that's really sad. There would be outcries if Jessica was a black girl. But she wasn't. She was white. So there's no outcries. There's no screaming. There's a small group of people saying we need justice for Jessica. So she wrote, this is Cassandra Fairbanks, she wrote a breaking Portland officers injured by mortar attack. Riot declared again. So now we're what, in the 81st night? That's great. And some more bad news. Another one from Miss Fairbanks. Breaking, security guard shot in Chicago as mass looting and mayhem overwhelms police. All right, Beetlejuice, it's time for you to step down. Just saying. Might be time for you to step down. I don't know what made that mayor out in Chicago, but she looked like a cross between Don King and Beetlejuice. And I mean Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice, and not the cartoon. I've never seen eyes on a woman like that. That's crazy. Here we go. This is a follow-up. Breaking, shots fired in Chicago as looters target Louis Vuitton store and several stores on Magnificent Mile. I guess it's real magnificent now. This is what you hired, guys. And then breaking massive looting underway in downtown Chicago at Magnificent Mile as riots continue across the nation. I don't want to watch it. And then Steven Scrage comes out of nowhere on Maria Bartiromo's show and muddies the waters. Is he a true patriot or deep state slime? I think he's deep state slime. He's no good. And then there's a question here. Is Jill Biden running for president? Jill does in-person interview with CBS as feeble Joe hides in basement. That's good. And then Bill Barr, apparently this was yesterday. He was on I guess he was on Life, Liberty, and Levin. And that's awesome because Bill Barr is definitely somebody you could watch. Bill Barr on Democrat Party resistance. They were trying to impeach him from day one. They've shredded the norms. They have. And then BLM Antifa militants. We're not even splitting them up anymore. They're just BLM Antifa. We should just call them Blamtifa. Mantifa. Militants rove into residential neighborhoods, threaten to murder Portland residents. We're going to burn your buildings down. Wow, that seems seems a little harsh, perhaps. And of course, you know, they're not rioting. What are you talking about? They're peaceful protesters. Okay, Mazie Hirono. And far left LA councilman who voted to defund the police called police 8 times at his home since April. What a retard. What's this guy's name? Mike Bonin. Fox LA reporter Bill Miglin dropped the bomb on Los Angeles City Councilman Mike Bonin. According to city records, Councilman Bonin called police 8 times at his home since April. See what happens, guys. See what happens? That's crazy. It says, public records request reveals LA County Councilman Mike Bonin, who voted to defund LAPD by $150 million, called LAPD to his home 8 times since 4/4/20, including provide extra patrols and protection from peaceful protesters at his house. Okay. Oh, do you see the hypocrisy yet, ladies and gentlemen? This is nuts. And then this one here is for Miss Birx and Mr. Fauci. Even developing nations, Algeria, India, Indonesia, Cuba, that have tested HCQ fared better than the U.S. in treating corona, by an average of 79% better. Why? I want to be able to go over the counter and get this stuff. And then the Democrats are now a Rousian Revolutionary Party that believes in tearing down the system. A.G. Barr explains. They are Seattle Antifa terrorists burning American flag, harass police officers, assault a woman and reporter. It's time, folks. So, lithium metal, which is propellant by the military. It was an explosive storage facility. So the Italian explosive expert, the Beirut blast massive red cloud, is an indicative of a lithium metal, which is propellant in military missiles. So there you go. Wisconsin Black Lives Matter protesters shoot at home of black police officer's girlfriend after assaulting them both. Wow. Oh my God. they're not terrorists at all, Mazie Hirono. And there was another massive boat parade, 1,000+ boats at Lake Okoboji in Iowa. What the Okoboji? Okoboji in Iowa. And then Hasbro pulled this troll doll, giggle and gasp with a crotch button over pedophilia grooming concerns. Gee, you think, Hasbro? We'll do a little looking into your past and see where you come from. And then somebody needs to go to jail for this. Graham says new document shows FBI deceived Senate during 2018 briefing on... Graham is getting pissed. I mean, what, the other day he said, what should we have done? They would have burned the goddamn thing down. Yeah, Graham is either pulling hard because he's involved in something that's a little bit untoward, or you know, I don't know. And then this is big. Trump holds a 36% approval rating with black voters in the latest Rasmussen monthly approval summary. Yeah, dude, because the real African Americans, not these little punks. These real black people, just like there's real white people and shitty white people. And then a host, I did this story yesterday, finally, CNN hack reporter, Brianna, it should be Kellier, but it's Keelar. They should move the L and the I in her name and just call her what she is, a liar. Tells viewers you can't just ignore BS. You've got to shovel it. Okay. So that's the Gateway Pundit this morning. And by the way, anybody who has a truck, I know you don't want to damage your trucks because they got plastic grills and all. Get some brush guards. Get some Kevlar reinforced tires. Because what you're seeing happen with these protesters, quote unquote, I'm sorry, these rioters, this is spreading. This is not stopping. They're not stopping this. It's going to come to your door. And when it does, just like Mel Gibson said, your kids are going to see violence. And that ain't right. That ain't right. It just ain't right. It's really disturbing that we are sitting here, and we'll go, we'll look at the old BB as well. See what they say about some stuff. Alex Azar on Taiwan, very important partner of the United States. Yeah, Taiwan is an awesome country, and I think we should protect them. And we still have proof that the China virus failed. China failed to reveal human-to-human spread of disease. Still. And they're yet to provide internal case virus samples to the world community, which is garbage. The American people are being told a lie by the media. AG Barr on Portland. Trump executive order is laughable. Governor Cuomo. But yours to put people back in nursing homes that were sick, that wasn't laughable. Bill Gates, Trump's pandemic response is mind-blowing. This coming from a guy who stole and murdered people. Lindsey Graham releases documents showing FBI misled Senate on Steele dossier. We saw that. At least they're covering it there. And large rally for police in Seattle SPD. God bless them. Thank God. Get out there. And then we covered this. The LA councilman. Idiot. Idiots. Ben Sass becomes GOP Trump critic of 2020 elections. No shit. And then there's Senator Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson? Anybody see that video? Suppressing Breitbart news is part of Google's electroneering for Democrats. That's true. When I have to search to the very bottom of the 15th or 20th search page, that's not right. You're at this point becoming an editor, and we can't have that. Protesters march through upscale D.C. residential area, banging pots. Well, it's good to see they're throwing their temper tantrums now in D.C. That's excellent. So that's news, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting worse. I just saw a video from RFB. You guys know him, and he said straight up, he's out in Montana right now, and everything's normal, but people are still giving in to the control, and that's a problem, because he said, and I hope he doesn't mind, but he said that every bit of control you give, you're never getting that back. And he's right. We either stop this now or we don't. He's right. And so is Icons. I mean, that man, the Sarge, knows. You know, he's ex-military, he's in that demon New York area, and he knows what's going on. And he had a video last night that was phenomenal. I mean, a lot of information, and you know, you just can't get it out there enough. People, they hear conspiracy, or they're told, oh, that's conspiracy theory, and they don't even know what conspiracy is. They're uneducated, they're misinformed or uninformed, or intentionally misled, and that's not good. You can't do that to people. You can't mislead them on purpose. You know, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't talk about it. If you haven't done the research, if you haven't read, these people that go after the Second Amendment or go after your freedom of speech, they can't tell you what the Eighth Amendment is, and I love it. No one knows what the Eighth Amendment is. I had some girl yell at me 2 or 3 years ago about the Second Amendment, and I said, well, what's your Eighth Amendment? She said, huh? I said, what's your Eighth Amendment? She goes, I don't know. I said, get a chair and some wire and let's electrocute her and get the answers we want. That's torture. Bingo. Your Eighth Amendment, you're right against torture. It's your right against cruel and unusual punishment. It's your right against false imprisonment, excessive bail, or jail time. That's your right, as your Eighth Amendment right, as an American citizen. As an American, you have an Eighth Amendment. You have the 10th Amendment, which is the states' rights. It's the state's responsibility to take care of the citizens of that state. That's the responsibility of the state. So when Dirk and Jerkin out there and Wheeler didn't take care of their citizens, they're liable for that. You think they're not going to be held accountable by this DOJ and this Department of Justice? I mean, that's crazy if you think they're not. What you've seen in the past 4 years, 5 years, even before then, hell, back in 2013 and 14, under that demon renegade, who I won't even say his name, because demons and renegades should not be recognized. Him and his husband did a number on destroying this country. The worst economic years of my life under that president. No health benefits. Was robbed by the IRS under that president. It's disturbing. He had ties to so many foreign countries that should have been looked into that weren't, because what was used? The race card. Listen, I'm all for people getting help lifting up. But when you give somebody a position because of the color of their skin, when they're not what's the word I'm looking for? When you have to give high-ranking jobs to people because you feel they're unintelligent and they can't do it on their own, that's a form of racism. I can't be a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Dr. Remulak is a joke. It's from the Howard Stern show. A guy used to call in saying, "I am Dr. Remulak." And I found it funny. I happened to choose it. The picture is a cat. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not an electrical engineer. I can wire 12 volt. I'm not a certified mechanic, but I can fix things. But when you put people in high-ranking places with affirmative action, whether that person be Eastern European, whether that person be Middle Eastern, whether that person be black, whether that person be Latino or white, if you put somebody there who doesn't know what they're doing, you can't blame anybody but yourself for the failures. I'm afraid to go to doctors because how many of them have gotten into their medical field via affirmative action? They were passed through because, well, you know, we can't fail them. If we fail them, we're racist. Well, when it comes to messing with people's lives, when it comes to helping people and being doctors or being nurses, you saw the nurses at, was it TNN News Raw did a story about these nurses in a nursing home in Michigan, in Detroit, I think. They were staging and betting on fights between residents. You know, people with, what was it? They had dementia, and they would pit them against each other and take bets. Yeah, and then they would blame the residents. These are women that were trained to be nurses' aides. They're not trained. They were pushed through. They don't have the wherewithal to raise a dog, let alone take care of an old person. But that's fine. Whatever. And it's because of how they were raised. You want to see those communities for what they really are. Watch TNN News. I'm telling you. Between Icons, TNN, RFB, the Timcast, you've got some serious research to do. And Martin Brodell is all right too. That's the news for today, ladies and gentlemen. You got to start calling your local radio stations, your AM radio stations. Forget your FM. Turn off that FM nonsense. Turn off FM. You put on AM. You start listening to, whether it be conservative or liberal, whoever. Get your voice out there, because if you don't, you're not going to have it much longer. Use your freedom of speech before they steal it, because they're already stealing it. When you walk into a place and you say something and you get screamed at by a group of people with mob groupthink, that's losing your freedom of speech. Keep your freedom of speech. Say what's on your mind. Mean what you say. And follow through on it. God bless. Good luck. And have a great Monday.